call this meeting to order. Members of the public can attend in person. They can stream on the library's YouTube channel. And a recording of this meeting is made available after the meeting at the city's website. The community also has a period in which they can address the board. Is there any community member that would like to do so? All right, there's none. Okay, call to order. I need my glasses. Kim? Here. Craig? Here. Okay, now I'm gonna need some help here. I need practice.
Shrioli, right?
Shrioli?
Shrioli.
Did I say it? Shrioli. Shrey. So the E is like,
That's right.
right?
Yeah, it's Shrey and then Oli.
Shrioli.
It's like
Shrey
ravioli.
Oli.
It rhymes.
Shrey.
Yeah,
Like what?
Shrioli. Thank you, I've been saying it incorrectly.
Shreyoli.
Shrioli.
Shreyoli. Okay, well, okay. I'm gonna write a little linguistic thing here.
Here.
Steve, Laurel,
Here.
and Nick is here. Let's see, order of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, approved. Updates and reports, beginning with the foundation.
Hi, we didn't submit this, but it'll be in the meeting notes. It's basically some of the same stuff. We're working on the holiday shopping option. Right now, we have 58 items. If anybody wants to donate anything, they can drop it off at the front desk with the RPLF label on it, and we can come and get it. The current items are at 32auctions.com/library24. Right now, when we look in the software insights for the auction, it says that we will reach our goal of $15,000 if we attain 65% of the retail value of the items we have now. So that's great, because we're gonna try to get up to 100 items. As of September, we were 78% to our undesignated goal of dollars raised for the year, and I think we're moving forward, so I think we'll attain our goal again. WIT sponsorships are down. Currently, we have 16 sponsors, and we're about $4,500 away from our goal of $22,500 in sponsorships. And just for reference, last year we had 28 sponsors as opposed to 16, and we had 21,750. So we have less sponsors, but more money per sponsor, but we're still falling short. When you do get the minutes, you'll get a chance to see some of the events that we've been at recently. We were at the Rochester Reading Champions Tutor and Family Celebration at Quarry Hill. We provided lunch for the staff training day, and we went to the Rochester Reading Champions Tutor Recognition event, and you'll get to see some of the photos from those. So they were really wonderful events that Tammy Fritz put on for RRC, and showed the meaningful impact of that program, and we're really proud to be a sponsor of that. And of course, we love supporting the staff here at the library. So, does anybody have any questions? Do you have your bidder numbers yet? No? I'll send you all an email so that you can look at the items and get ready to bid. It starts on Thanksgiving and goes till December 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Friends.
Hi, I'm Val Kalashewski, president of Friends, and October's been a busy month for us. We paid for breakfast at the staff training, and I gave a presentation on what Friends does for the library, and also gave a brief historical history of the 75 years, showed them pictures of some of the different library buildings and that have been there while we've had a Friends group. Brenda mentioned the Rochester Reading Champions. We weren't at the Quarry Hill one, but we were at the one that was held at Cascade Lake. We also contribute money towards Rochester Reading Champions. And then the MLA conference coming up the end of this month, we provided some funds to the library's MLA committee so that they could provide refreshments for social time and a dance party on Thursday evening, and also so that they can provide art supplies for a drop-in craft time, and also some self-care gift bags for a pre-conference session that's focused on BIPOC library workers. We will also have the store open during the conference, and anybody, conference attendees badge will get them a standard 20% discount. The results of our autumn book sale that just got over on Sunday, we made a net profit of $6,300, which is mind-blowing considering the most expensive book is $2. And, you know, we're open for 2.5, 3 days. It still blows my mind. So that amount will cover half of the funding that we have pledged to contribute to adult reader services. So examples of what that money goes for is craft supplies for different programming, puzzles for makerspace, home outreach bags, speaker fees for various programs, for example, Grassroots Shakespeare, that was earlier this year, a couple of different flower arranging programs, and this coming Saturday, the Songs and Stories of American West program were all funded by Friends money. So next large sales is the first weekend in December. We have our gift quality book and bake sale, so you can do your Christmas shopping. The store will also be open the Saturday immediately after Thanksgiving, which is historically nationwide Small Business Saturday. So you can do some Christmas shopping on the first Saturday right after Thanksgiving, and then a week later you can come in to our book and bake sale. And then our next large auditorium garage sale kind of event will be the first full weekend in February. Any questions for Friends?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Selco, Teresa's not here, but Karen, you go.
So I can just give a report from the Selco Library Directors every other month meeting. Selco is switching and moving to a new ILS, so that's been a lot of what the topics of conversation are. One of the things that they're doing is moving away from, they have a not as nice version of Cersei that is much more outdated, and are moving to an open source system. So they are moving to, Koha with an Aspen discovery layer. They have hired a new user experience person at Selco, and she gave a report about just some very basic studies that she has done with the enterprise discovery layer that we use and the new Aspen interface that they use. So we're having, just conversations about how is our discovery layer, and are there things that we can observe and watch as Selco goes through this process and moving into this new direction. The other big topic was looking at the Minnesota Borrowers Compact. Right now, we're going to have more information at our next board meeting about this, but this really talks about how great Minnesota is at sharing materials. So you can really go to almost any library in the state. You can take your library card and you can say, here's my library card, register it here, Hennepin County, and then you can have access to their materials and borrow their materials. Not all states operate like that, so it's great. One thing that the compact does not speak to, it's been in existence since early 2000s. One thing it does not speak to is digital collections and how libraries should be sharing digital materials. So I see your face, yes. That is a hot topic as digital items are expensive and the demand on digital is increasing for everyone. So again, that'll be coming up at the next library board meeting that that was one of the discussions. Selco will be taking that to the PRPSLA organization, which is all of the regional library systems get together, and that's where the Borrowers Compact actually originated. So they'll be discussing that hopefully this month, and I should have an update, so. And that
We
is
hope to
it.
have an agreement on electronic.
I mean, we are still adhering to the agreement. It's just libraries have rights within the agreement to set their limits on different items. So let's say our telescopes, for example. I mean, well, do our telescopes, I don't even know the answer to that question.
They don't
No.
circle, we only
Okay.
here.
Only here. If you live here, you can use a telescope, but if you're a Hennepin County person coming to get the telescope, then, right?
We don't interline with them, we don't send them nothing.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if somebody were to come
But
here,
if somebody did come here, they could,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, as long as they follow the seatbelt instructions that are in the telescope and they take.
yes, you must take care of this telescope and bring it back. So, those are some big things happening at Southbell.
Any questions? Executive committee update. Our meeting in October pretty much is reflected in the agenda that we've been going through and we'll go through. We did talk a little bit more about the MOU for library friends in the foundation, which is coming up in item number 7. We also discussed nominations for the executive committee. Angela will be leaving the board at the end of December. Yeah. So that opens up an opening. I have offered to stay another year because, first of all, because of that, and second of all, because we're in this middle of this big study. So I've offered to stay another term. Steve would theoretically move up to vice president role, and so there's an opening for the secretary position. Karen did send out a message, and I did hear from 2 people who I've got to get back to again. So this is just like a second request. If you're interested in serving on the executive committee, it's just contact me and I'll respond. Any questions about that? Okay, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to vote on 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D as a block?
I would move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 7.
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to Craig, if you want to walk us through the MOU, as you have the you probably spent more time than any one of us here on this document, and talk us through it.
Happy to do that. The draft MOU is in your agenda packet. A couple of things to remember. The purpose really is to describe the relationship among the Friends and the Foundation and the library. It's really a matter of recording, making a record of and acknowledging that we're all here for the same purpose, and to formally grant some permissions to the Foundation and the Friends, and broadly lay out certain responsibilities, but it is not a contract. It's not a detailed document. Each of those organizations has their own governing instruments. They have their own policies. We do too. Those are all. They come after this. This is not that level of detail. This started as a parallel track. We were looking at a separate MOU for the Friends and a separate one for the Foundation. And early on in conversation with Karen and Jeremiah, we realized, you know what, we could probably consolidate this. There'd be some sense in that. There's a lot of commonality. And it would make sure that all 3 organizations know what we've said to the other. So went through many iterations. Val and Brenda were good about helping us have some conversations with their boards. And what you have is, it says it's version 4. I feel like it's version 42. But let me just go through just a couple of the main topics, or a couple of things I want to point out. First of all, you'll see that we refer to these as affiliated organizations. I think supporting organizations would be a much better term. Unfortunately, that has a technical meaning in Section 501C of the Internal Revenue Code, so we're going to call them affiliated organizations. There's a preamble, talks about the history of the organizations. Section 1 is all about communications. I don't think there's anything very surprising there. We all agree that we're going to be in touch with one another about planning, and that there will be cross-board communications. Section 2 talks about the use of the library name and branding. This is a technical point. Basically, it says the Friends of the Foundation can use the library name and brand identity subject to the city's guidelines. It's pretty common sense, but it's important to have that sort of thing written down. Section 3 is all about resources. You can read that in detail. What I want to point out, there are several places in there where it says as resources permit or subordinate to the needs of the library. So everybody realizes the library comes first, but we're also going to support the organizations that support us. I would note for this group, number 11 at the top of page 3, it's up to the library to develop policies and procedures for naming opportunities. We do have a naming policy. It's about 20 years old. We probably ought to slate that for a review. It's probably time to take a look at that again. Section 4 is some shared responsibilities. On that one, number 13 is on page 3 again. The Minnesota Charities Review Council is an organization here in Minnesota that has a set of standards, best practice standards for nonprofits. There are many different standards out there, but we thought it was important to pick one, and the local one was really pretty good. We also had some discussion about why don't we just tell them they have to do this? And I don't think that's right. I think the wording we settled on is just about right. We're going to ask them to strive to meet those standards. If the organizations decide to, there's an accountability process they can go through. They can get certified by the Charities Review Council. But that's really up to the two organizations to decide. Those standards are things that you would expect. We will have public meetings, we will keep minutes, we will, it's transparency. The responsibilities of the Friends, as you would expect, it's book sales and volunteers. I would note here for this group, there is an agreement. It's essentially a real estate lease for the bookstore space. That agreement says it's supposed to be reviewed annually. And as far as anybody can remember, it's never been reviewed. So we need to sort of calendar that for this board too. At least take a look at that so that we're following the spirit.
Is it clear that it has to be reviewed by the board, or could it be reviewed administratively?
I'm not a lawyer, but my reading of it is it needs to be reviewed annually by both entities. And I think probably the sensible way to do this is just calendar it so that there's a record that we looked at it. I doubt that anything would change, and similar to the Friends, we want to take a look at it at least annually. Foundation's responsibilities are fundraising and endowment, and then the last part is we decided we should take a look at this every 5 years. Initially, we thought every 2 years, but it took us almost 2 years to get through it the first time, so let's just let it go for about 5 years. It has been reviewed by the city attorney. As far as I can tell, he didn't change even a punctuation rule, so it is ready to go. If this board accepts it, the next step then is to go back to the affiliated organizations boards and present to them for their acceptance.
Any questions?
Could you please say a little bit more about naming? What does that mean? Naming policy.
If we wanted to offer a donor, for example, the opportunity to put a name on a building or on a room, that sort of thing. And the existing policy does have several schedules in it with dollar amounts, but as I said, they're a couple of decades out of date.
So get something named.
Yes, we're gonna have a fire sale on.
Yeah, on naming rights, you know, if you want the circulation desk named after you. It'll only cost $5,000 if you do it by January
Right,
1st.
yeah, act now before midnight,
Thanks for all your work on this.
yeah.
So. And then would we just, do we have other things that like just every annual things, like every January as we get new board members, that would be a good time to calendar all those kind of items?
Yeah. I could see adding this to our schedule that we have existing for our policy review.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of getting it on the work plan for the year, just to make sure we did.
I don't know if you want to do it January with new meetings or maybe wait till February when people are, you know, theoretically acclimatized.
And it's one of those, you know, it isn't a big issue until something goes wrong.
Right.
And then somebody says, whoa, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
why didn't you
Yeah.
look?
Yeah.
When friends, you know, get $850,000 at the next bookstore, you know, book sale and.
We wish.
Which could
Right.
happen.
Where you're going, I could.
Yeah, so. Do you need a motion?
Any other questions? All right, could I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the library, Friends, and Foundation?
I would move to approve the memo of understanding as presented.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Karen, do you want to add the naming policy to our next policy meeting on November 1st?
Yeah, I want to do a little more digging on that because my understanding was it was a foundation policy. No, it was not brought to the board. We will, okay. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I might suggest, we might wait, because part of the planning study is looking at that, so
Okay.
it might be best just to give it a little time.
Okay.
We will get it
Early
on the
20.
agenda. All right, A, library study update.
All right, and I will look to Kim if Kim has any updates, but I know we do have a written report of just some of the things that have been happening over this last month or so. We had a big kickoff event where many of you were part of the process. We staffed visioning session. There was, we had some initial discussion just with internal finance with Perna and the Pathways group. Foundation and Friends also participated in visioning sessions, and then we had our staff liaison committee that was also called together for the first time. Planned out some engagement activities and started our engagement activities. Actually, the first one had started even before that kickoff meeting. List is there. Those are continuing. We have two more.
Two more on the same day though.
Perfect. So that we could capture both Byron and also at a grocery store. So the Hy-Vee, the bookmobile stop at the Hy-Vee grocery store will be the last two that we do for this initial round. Again, this is very early, initial. What do you want from your community? Do you use the library, yes or no? And what do you think of when you think of 21st century libraries? And already some themes are starting to emerge in those engagement activities. Also on our all-staff training day, which you're going to hear more about next topic, but we were given an opportunity to create zines to express, or have for staff to have an opportunity to express what they are hoping for as far as success at the end of this this project. The next meeting will be in November for the steering committee. We have a lot scheduled for that day. That will be when Susan Kent, who is the consultant that will be really looking at staffing and operational items and that part of the study component. We're already also having conversations about building both the survey and then potentially some co-design activities. So those are in the works as well. Anything that I forgot?
Well, I just would like to add, our study, at least the initial phase, was asking very similar questions to what the mayor was asking in their Visioning 2050, thank you, session. And so we were able to collaborate, and as a result, both of our engagements are gonna be that much richer because the mayor will be sharing their engagement with our consultants, and our consultants will be sharing their engagement with theirs. What's gonna happen next, before the November meeting, is the themes that have emerged from this initial engagement are gonna be grouped, and we're gonna have a little bit more tangible pieces for the next level of engagement. And one of the things that I heard from the consultant is that it's very nice to see that a lot of the community impressions and the staff impressions align. So that helps us know that we're on the right track.
Anything else?
Nope. Any questions?
Lauren, thank you. 8B, the all-staff training. Who's doing that?
This would be Kim, so this is our strategic priority I, highlighting our well-trained, highly well-trained, compassionate, vibrant, innovative, diverse staff. Yep.
So this is our second annual all-staff training day. It was a heavy a lift initially because it did require us closing the library for a day. But we had much support from you and from city administration to prioritize getting our teammates equipped to manage the challenges that come their way. This year, we had a variety of sessions. We started the day with keynote focusing on the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives of the city and where the library comes through. We had a number of breakout sessions focusing on different issues that the team had identified as things they wanted to learn more about. We had a lovely yoga presentation, one of the free half hours presented by our Commissioner Podolsky Smith. And it ended with, it was such a great opportunity to have a way for teammates to continue to engage in the building process and to share what their hopes and dreams are for our library future. And I have heard over and over in the evaluations how much people appreciated the time to collaborate and connect with one another. It is a rare opportunity where we can all be in the same room, focusing on ideas and sharing connections. So, we're going to be in the evaluation stage in the next couple months, and the team will be meeting in November, and we'll share the evaluation with the administrative team and make recommendations for future training.
Yeah, and I believe we have a couple of photos from the day. Mayor Norton also gave a nice kickoff when we had a presentation both from Friends and Foundation. And I think in the next one, this was our team that we have to congratulate and thank. Kim has led this charge for the last 2 years, and I know that Kim will not be here for the next one because Kim will be retired before then, but we'll need somebody that has that same ability to bring a nice group together to make this a success. And then some of the things that we had, Radical Kindness too was one of the sessions, but the one that we have to show is the Munchkin the Turf Course. And everybody needs to see that because that was a very unique opportunity. Munchkin doesn't look super happy, but I swear Munchkin was happy.
Not only did we get to interact.
He had a diaper on, yes.
With the therapy horse, we did learn about the difference between therapy animals and service animals and emotional support animals and what their roles are in helping one another. And yes, it does. It cannot go without saying that we really appreciate the support from the Friends and the Foundation for the meals, keeping people fed and energized throughout the day. And there was one really important thing I was going to say, and I forgot what it was.
Was there very much discussion about the ongoing library study?
Yes, Yeah, the whole last hour, Karen led us a session on what we vision. I mean, the same, actually, when we did the visioning for the library study, the staff had a set of questions and the steering committee had a set of questions. And the steering committee's set of questions was different than what the staff had. And we loved it. We loved the things that came out of that. What would success look like? And so we thought we would take that opportunity to bring that back to staff and especially put it in a way where people could be creative, a little less formal in presenting their ideas.
So the staff feel that they're an important part of this.
Absolutely.
That's why I wanted to
Yeah.
ask.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the intent. I don't want to speak for all staff, but
Yes.
that is the intent.
But they feel that they have
They
the
will,
opportunity.
I
Yeah.
can't
to be
speak to
involved.
how they feel, but I can speak to that we are doing everything we can
Okay.
to encourage and empower their participation and make sure that they're valued when they provide it.
Okay. And if they've got something to say, they can say that.
And they better say it.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I don't think so.
Okay, number 9, question and answer. Anybody have any questions? I had asked, I just wanted to clarify with Karen that this is the point in the meeting where one could ask whatever, because sometimes when I actually sit in my computer and I go through all the documents and I make little notes to myself. This is the time to ask any questions.
And any board member also individually is always welcome to reach out to me if there is a specific clarifying question, or if there's just, I mean, you can always reach out to me for questions. But yes, this is a great time to bring up questions, provide additional direction. To me, that is
I
very
remembered what I
helpful.
was going to say about the all-step training. One of the questions that had come up in the evaluation, well, how much does this cost? Is it worth it? And when we look at how much it costs to send one person to a conference, we could train 100 people for the cost of sending 5 people to a conference. So what it does is provide all staff opportunity for training and engagement.
And this library study is being done by a third uninterested party who will give us objective data to go forward. Okay. Any questions on anything? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Wow.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
If you want to sit here all night, we can.
I know.